Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I would love to talk to you about relationships and how I figured out that relationships are essentially not here to make us happy. Stay with me until the end of the video because by the end you might have a completely shifted perspective about not just relationships but yourself. We're gonna be talking about how relationships are offering us the fastest ticket towards our evolution. Also, you're gonna uncover why you keep choosing the same person. So we're gonna start with the first slide, which is the signal. This is us. And we want to be talking about the signal. Okay, so there is basically the bell. It's a very strange drawing, but stay with me. So I want you guys to imagine your patterns and your relationships, and no matter what relationship you enter, there is a certain pattern that somehow seems like it's coming with you, right? No matter what you do, no matter how many times you change the person, you are there and the pattern keeps repeating. So let's write it here. So there is a certain pattern, behavior pattern or pattern in your relationship that continuously repeat itself. No matter if you change the person on the other side, the pattern stays the same. And why is this happening in the first place? So there is a certain signal that you are sending out, and that signal has to do with your wounds, okay? Your childhood trauma and your subconscious mind. All of these aspects are sending certain signal. Based on that, you attract your partner in your life, romantic relationship, or whether that's just chemistry with someone. There is a certain signal that is being sent out. We are all doing this. We are doing this unknowingly. And that's why, guys, it is most likely than not that you find yourself with the sort of people, with the type of people that are exactly and specifically showing you the wounds and the traumas and the subconscious wirings that you haven't addressed or that you have deeply wired in. And that's what I want to talk about. When I'm saying that relationships are not here to make us happy, that is a big, bold statement, because at the end of the day, when you do this inner work, when you dare to go there, when you are willing to look at your own things, you are most likely to be happy because you're going to be happy in yourself, right? You're going to reach happiness within. And then, okay, so this guy is going to be smiling because he's reaching happiness. This is again very creepy, but excuse me. This is just how it goes with the drawings. They just take their own shape here on the channel. When you dare to look at those things, when you dare to address them, happiness is going to come from within. So essentially, we will not be entering or entertaining relationships with other people in a sense of looking for that happiness outside of us, because we are already found it inside of us, right? We already, just like this. We already found it inside of us, so we don't have to look for other people to match it or to fill it up for us, the void that we have inside of us. But we will be happy on our own, and then the person preferably also is willing to look at their own issues and their own traumas, their own wirings, their own beliefs, so they reach the same point. And then when you come together, you are happy because you don't have to mirror each other. But don't get me wrong, it's gonna happen because this is how we are wired to evolve. And there is nothing to be afraid of if you are both willing to do the work. But we're gonna be going deeper into this because it's not as straightforward. And I want to explain you everything about how to do that and what's happening behind the scenes, of course. Now we can delete this. So now we're gonna be going deeper into the mirror. Here it's again us. Okay, and here is the mirror. What most people expect is that when they enter a relationship, what they are seeing in the other person is about the other person, but actually it is the mirror showing you your own blind spots. Okay, so this is gonna be the reflection in the mirror, which is showing us the truth, the real self, the things that we haven't addressed perhaps. That's why he's not very happy about it, because the truth is, whenever you enter a relationship, all the things that have been buried deep inside of you, this is the ground where they're gonna come up. Okay, this is the ground where all the nasty, dirty, all the outdated beliefs, all the things that are not serving you in any sort of way, gonna come up to the surface. So the mirror is basically us in a relationship, the other person. And most often than not, have you ever find yourself in a situation where you get into argument with your significant other and you are blaming and why you don't do this, you always do this, you are like this, you are like that. We always make it about the other person, but the truth is they are doing the exact thing to awaken that trigger inside of us and to show us where we are still not free inside of us. So the mirror is what is the most honest truth shown to us in the relationship. I just remember last time this was not very visible, so I'm just gonna on this side, so that's why I'm gonna just write over it. Okay, this is what happens in the relationship, and if you don't have this awareness, if you don't have this perspective, you're gonna be always blaming the other person. Okay, so blame, accusation, and other things, but also don't understand this wrong. This mirror is going to show us everything. But if you, only you, let's say for example, only you are doing the inner work, only you are self-aware, only you are willing to admit you are wrong, you are right, and the other person is not doing that, then that's not going to work. Okay, so for this mirror to be working, it has to go both ways. So both of you have to admit when you are wrong. Both of you have to admit that you have certain weaknesses or certain things that you are very cautious about or you are triggered about, and you have to be willing to meet yourself somewhere in the middle, rather than saying you always do this, you always do that, this blame, accusations, all of that, because that's not going to help you. And of course, also, if the other person is doing the work and you are not doing it, which I believe it's not the truth because you are watching this video, which tells me that you are self-aware and already doing that work. But let's say that's the case scenario, it's also not going to work because the other person is going to bring those things up to you and you will not be able to navigate it or handle them, and you will not be willing to, most of all. Because if you're comfortable where you are, no matter how much the other person is going to try, you're not going to be moving and evolving, right? Because like I said at the beginning, the relationships are the perfect ground to evolve as a human beings. If you want to really face your stuff, if you really want to see where you don't see, quite literally, you want to enter relationships because they are the sacred mirror that's going to show you everywhere you are not free yet. And I want to give you a little bit of my own experience. When I went through my first awakening and into spirituality, into psychology, all of these things, I thought I was having my stuff pretty much together, right? I felt like I was meditating, I was having my stuff sorted out. I thought I was pretty good when it came to my evolution, when it came to my progress in life, when it came to anything and everything. And then once I entered the relationship, I saw, damn, it's very easy and simple to do that when you are on your own and think that you are healed or evolved or anything like that. And once you enter a relationship, all of that is gonna be very ruthlessly shown to you. Plus, you have to take into consideration the other person, whatever they are dealing with. You are gonna be mirroring to each other the exact pain point that you need to address. So that's another, like an extra level, the pro level that you reach when you enter the relationship, the conscious relationship, because there is nowhere to hide. In a real honest relationship, there is not much place to hide, and that's very scary for some people. I was talking in the other videos as well about how we are building these walls, etc., etc. That's like before, but once you are in it, this mirror is going to show you where you are not free. This person is going to show you where you are still holding limiting beliefs. Okay, so also about beliefs and your wiring. Your childhood is gonna come up. And I know I'm repeating this a lot, guys, but everything is stemming from this. Because in our childhood, we received the manual of what is love, how to be in a relationship, and whatnot. I'm not telling you that this was the right way. For most of us, it was not, right? It was not the correct way. But we were given some sort of manual to be modeled what it means to be in a relationship, how to behave, what to do, what to expect. And then when we enter a relationship, most of us, to be honest, we don't want to repeat the same way our parents were, let's say. That's my case. For most of us, we don't want to repeat that. And then we enter this relationship and we find ourselves repeating that because it's happening subconsciously, right? Subconsciously, we have this manual. Subconsciously, we have this blueprint. So that's the blueprint of what means, what to expect, what to do, how to be, how to navigate that. And then subconsciously we repeat it. And most likely we don't like it, but we don't know how to change it because it's happening beyond the conscious mind. It's happening the subconscious level, okay? That's why so many people unfortunately enter abusive relationships, because if that's what was modeled to them during their childhood, then they have a very high probability to repeat that. And that's why I am talking about these things, because it's very important to stop this cycle. And the only way you can stop this cycle is to become aware of those patterns, those manuals, those blueprints, and change them. So you don't have to repeat the same things the same way, because I know many people don't want to do that willingly, but they are doing this subconsciously. Let me just remind you that this mirror is an amazing and incredibly useful tool to have if you are both willing to look at it, if you are both willing to look at your shortcomings, look at all of these things that I just mentioned. If you are willing to do the work, this mirror can be your literally your getaway into evolution as a human being here. So let's look deeper into that now, shall we? The feeling of home is what got us there in the first place. Why do we even enter those relationships or those dynamics that are not preferred by us? Because in the first place, somehow in that connection there is this feeling of home. So let's draw this. So here is our beautiful figure that is very happy because this new person or this new connection feels like home, right? And it feels like home because it has the dynamics reminding us of the patterns, of the dynamics of the manual, of the blueprint, like I was saying, that we were modeled as kids. So it all depends, again, guys, about our upbringing, about what our parents or our caregivers modeled to us, what they showed us, how they were. Quite literally, it's not about what they taught us, it's about much more. These are very much subconscious things that are happening beyond the level of understanding, like I'm always repeating. So let's say you grew up in a really good family where you were modeled that your father loved your mother and you seen them being affectionate towards others, respecting each other, never raising a voice on each other and working as a team. then you have the perfect manual. And don't get me wrong, no one is perfect here. Even the good adults are gonna mess up at some point, right? But the important thing is what you are modeled day by day. And if they repair during the conflict, let's say, or if they apologize, let's say, that's also important. Or if they pretend nothing happened, or if they're gonna be playing the blame game and throwing resentment around, that's gonna be your literal blueprint. And that's why I'm so passionate about talking about it, because it quite literally sets us up for failure or for success. And I can tell you by my own example that I never wanted to model my parents how their relationship was, because it was not working, it was not functional. But up until some age, I didn't even know any other way. I thought that was the norm. And my subconscious mind was wired heavily for that being the norm. But then when you reach certain age, or even with your friends, you go around to another people's houses and you see other families, meet other people, and you start understanding, okay, this is not normal. I guess not everyone is like this, not everyone lives like this, not everyone is behaving like this. Then you start connecting the dots, but it takes some time. And then also that realization is not the whole thing. Then the next thing is doing the actual work, rewiring those patterns, rewiring those beliefs that you received, so you can build your life differently, because most likely you're going to say you don't want to repeat that. But what's going to happen if you don't do any work? Subconsciously, you're going to repeat that regardless. You're going to be finding yourself in the same patterns, exact same patterns as we were talking in the first slide. The signal is going to be sent out. You find yourself in the same pattern. You don't want to be in that pattern, but yet you don't know how to exit. So exactly that's what's happening, right? So what we want to do is want to realize that this feeling of home, this feeling of familiarity, okay? So familiar does not equal safe, okay? So just because someone feels familiar to your nervous system, if you grew up in an environment where chaos was very normal, then your nervous system is wired for chaos. And you're gonna be attracting people and persons and relationships that's going to repeat that. So they're going to very familiar to your nervous system. That means your nervous system deems them as safe. That's why you even enter those relationships in the first place, because you're repeating the same pattern. And like I said, just because they feel familiar doesn't mean they are safe, because then you're going to see, okay, this is perhaps not what I would prefer to be in the first place, right? So it is very important to understand it intellectually, but then bringing the body to the understanding that this feeling of home, oh, actually I missed feeling of home is not the whole story, okay? So what we want to do now, we are talking again about nervous system, but we always come back to the basics, which is nervous system, subconscious mind, childhood trauma, wiring. The nervous system was wired for certain familiarity, which might be, in your case, chaos, abuse, God forbid, emotional unavailability. Everything of this could be wired in our nervous system as familiar, and therefore we deem it as safe. But we need to teach now our nervous system and ourselves that that's not the truth. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it is safe. And we need to rewire it. We need to change that. If we don't want to be repeating the same dynamics, the same patterns, the same trauma, the same childhood manuals and blueprints, we need to change that. We need to rewire that. We need to work on that. That's the whole thing. And I know, guys, probably you were thinking, okay, but I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I know how it was with my childhood, and I definitely don't want that. But does your nervous system know that? Does your subconscious believes that? That's the real question, not what you want logically, because logically no one is going to choose this chaos, abuse, or any of those negative stuff, right? We all want to be essentially happy, and we want to be in fulfilling relationships. No one is going to say, okay, I choose this for myself. That's not the case. So we want to look deeper, we want to look underneath, and we need to uncover why we are doing it in the first place, so we can remove that, not just talk about it, not just say that this is what I want, this is not what I want. We need to be actively working on that. We're gonna be removing this slide as well. Now we are approaching this slide that's called the shadow dance. And I actually borrowed this term from Carl Jung. I mentioned him in my previous videos, but he was very much into studying the unconscious, subconscious mind, and he came up with this term. That's what happens when we enter relationships and we are dancing with the other person's shadow in a way, right? Let's draw something here. So we have two figures here, of course. Reaching to each other. They are super in love. They come together. They enter a relationship. Everything is great at the beginning, the honeymoon phase, everything is amazing. And then, in the subconscious it's already happening, but after a while of in the honeymoon phase, the shadows really come out to play and they start dancing together, right? So this could be the metaphor for the shadow that we are bringing along with each other, and we are dancing back and forth together with our beautiful shadows, and everything is being brought to the surface. Let me just make it clear here. Oh my gosh, I'm just making it worse. From the moment we enter a relationship with someone, from the moment we even entertain a relationship with someone, we're gonna start entertaining our shadows as well. Of course, obviously, there is no light without the dark. There is no dark without the light. We all coexist. We all have spectrums and aspects of both, like I'm always saying. So it is inevitable. But how we gonna deal with that? How we gonna approach that? That's gonna change possibly the whole relationship, the trajectory of the relationship. Because if you are not aware of this, and the first time the shadow comes up, because it will come up, trust me, believe me, it will come up, and you are not dealt with your own shadow, it will also come up. Each of them, imagine each of them are very much in love with each other. But then this shadow overtakes them and they start blaming each other, accusing each other, all of these things, playing out the childhood manuals, the blueprints, all of that they have been taught. Then they're gonna very much clash here, right? So most of the people, no matter how much love is in this relationship, if they do not know how to deal with their own shadows, they cannot possibly deal with the shadow of the other person, and that's why most of the relationship ends up building up resentment, because they always end up in the same place, in this shadow dance, where they end up blaming each other, playing these games, or accusing each other, not resolving anything. So no matter how much love there is, they're gonna be building resentment over and over again. If they keep repeating the same dance and no one is moving towards each other, they are gonna be most likely going further away from each other, and their relationship ends. And that's a very sad thing, because if you think about it, if we were all to be aware of that, and if we were all to be aware of that, plus our partner to be aware of that, I think we would choose differently, right? We would choose, if there is love involved, I presume we would choose to look at that. We would choose to deal with that. We would choose to do something differently so we can stay with this person instead of building resentment, instead of getting further away from each other. And we would choose how to navigate that. And I know, for example, I can speak for myself that my parents grew up in a generation where there was not even slight mention of our psychology or of the patterns of the subconscious mind. None of that was out there, right? So they were doing what they could with what they knew. But the thing now is that we know so much better, and we are living in the age of information. So the information is on the tip of our fingerprints. Everything is out there. You can quite literally find out your attachment stuff, whatever, in the seconds. The same for your partner. So there is literally no excuse not to look at that. And I'm not telling you right now that you have to obsess about it or you have to overdo it in one way or another, because it's happening there and you don't have to be crazy about it. I am maybe a bit too crazy about this topic because I'm so passionate about it, but you just have to be aware. Quite literally, you have to be aware. And if you've done any of this work, if you are aware even slightly, you don't have to do even the journaling or any of those things if you feel it's boring for you. But if you find yourself in a situation that you start noticing there is a certain pattern repeating, you don't have to do anything else. If you notice that you already know that this is the pattern repeating, and that's the first step, right? You know the pattern, so you can be aware when the pattern, the shadow, whatever you want to call it, comes up. You know that's the shadow speaking, that's the shadow doing the thing, and it's not actually you. And that sort of awareness is going to give you so much space to not react differently, rather than defaulting into the default setting and repeating the same thing over and over again without anyone progressing, without anyone noticing, without anyone moving through, just to get to the other side, just to get through this or move through this, right? So what we are essentially wanting to do here is not to bring more things to think about, do more things on our to-do list because we are already so busy. It's not about that at all. And I know if you watch my video, you understand that. It's about simplifying the things and understanding the things, understanding when we are not free. And this shadow dance, this dance with our partner is showing us beautifully that. So how about next time we don't make it about the other person? How about we tell to our person, to our lover that, hey, look, I know we already been here. This feels like a repeating cycle to me. And what we are arguing, it's not even about the thing. Like, I don't care where we're going to eat or what's going to happen or who cleans the dishes. Just an example. Let's look what happened, why we are repeating this pattern. Hey, let's snap out of this. We are better than this. This is a pattern. This is not about us. Look, what's the essence of our relationship? That's the love. That's the foundation. And remind each other why you are in it in the first place. It's not you against them. Remember that always. It's not you against them. Even when it looks like that, I know, trust me. When you are in the dance, it looks very much like the other person is trying to attack you, defend everything, anything. But it's not about that. It's about your shadows playing this dance, dancing around, having fun, and you are suffering because you want to be close to this person. You love this person genuinely. If you love them, then this is painful. But if you understand that this is only the thing that's happening behind the scenes, that's gonna give you so much grace in how you actually approach the arguments, in how you actually approach the misunderstandings of how you relate to your partner in the first place. So if anything, I want you to think about that the next time you find yourself in this shadow dance. What if that was not about them in the first place? What if that's showing me where I'm not free? And even better, if your partner can get the same sort of awareness and stop themselves and also think that, my dear, you're gonna go places. What do you guys think about this video? Have you ever been in a situation where you manage to stop yourself in your tracks and be like, oh damn, wait a minute. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's one of the hardest things you can do when you are in it. It's like every triggers, everything. It feels like it owns you, but it doesn't actually. And the moment you take the awareness, the moment you react differently, you take your power back. Okay? You do take your power back. So now we want to wrap it up a bit with very important things. And that's the whole point. This is super important to bring up. Okay? Because you are here. And now we are talking about you personally, because we don't want to make it about the other person. So we are only looking at it now from our own point of view. So two things can happen here. This. So you are here, right? You are thinking what to do. And this. Funny drawing, right? What do I mean by that? You might already be gathering where I'm heading with this. And I'm gonna give you a second because I need this to dry, otherwise it's not gonna be visible. Keeping you on your toes. What's coming next? Can you tell me what's coming next? Can you comment what's coming next? And don't try to cheat on me by writing it after you watch this video. Write it now, write it now. Let's make this fun. Write it now. What I'm gonna write here? What does this even mean, these lines here? Okay, I'm not gonna torture you much more. So we can choose two options, right? So this is what's gonna happen if we manage the situation, and this is what's gonna happen if we face this situation. So if we manage the situation without going deeper, without addressing the issue, without trying to do anything about it, if we just put something on top, a plaster on the wound, the loop repeats. But on the other side, if we face the situation and if we face ourselves, most importantly, if we face ourselves, we get deeper awareness. We get deeper awareness, plus you can see this is going out, so we are not repeating the same loop. So this would be going in circles, repeating the same loop. But here, okay, so this is repeating the same loop, getting into the same situation over and over again, the same argument, the same pattern, the same behavior. And I want a new color again. I think this is not going to be as visible, but let's try. Instead of this, it looks like white, but that's okay. It's supposed to be violet. Anyway, this is exiting the loop. This is creating a new pathway, a new direction for our relationship, for us, for everything in our life. This is repeating the same loop. This is exiting. So do you get what I mean? You get the choice, you get the option, you get to choose what you want in every single situation. The same with your relationship. And you get to choose on yourself, by yourself as well. You don't have to always make the decision with your partner. Preferably they are also facing the same situation, the same question, and they will choose the same. But you can do it on your own, and you are already doing half of the work, right? So if you face the thing, if you face yourself, if you face your childhood, if you face your traumas, everything that we are always repeating on this channel here, we're going to be repeating that. Or you can choose to spin on the circles and you're going to be repeating the same situation. Or you can choose differently and exit and see new paths, new horizons, new ways of how you can relate to your partner. And that's exciting, isn't it? Who would want to be running in circles in the same thing that is not even making you happy? And I know at the beginning I said relationships are not supposed to make us happy. It was a bit of a clickbait, as you might have imagined. We are here to make ourselves happy in the first place, and then our beautiful relationship is gonna be like a cherry on the top. And hear me out. If you do this work together with your partner, which is not perfect, you are not perfect, life is not perfect, no one's gonna be perfect. You do it anyway. You enter this with some of your wounds, some of your traumas still unresolved because they need to come to the surface. Then how beautiful is that journey gonna be if you do it together? The depth you can reach together if you go there, if you're willing to look at it, if you're willing to do this job, if you're willing to stop blaming each other and start working as the perfect team, as the beautiful divine union, you're gonna go places, okay? And horizons and depths, anything and everything you imagine. Because if you look at your partner as the divine union that is here to propel you forward and help you evolve, there is no other way this can go, right? So yes, relationships are not here to make us happy. They are here to propel us forward and really help us become our best version of ourselves in the first place, right? And we do it together, and we do it for each other, and we do it with each other. Isn't that amazing? If you find it, if you found that, or if you are on your way to find that, congratulations, my friend. So willingness is your ticket to get there. We are reaching the end of the video, but again, we have to wait for this to dry a little bit. So now it's time for me to ask you a question. And actually, this slide is going to be called question. And that's how I want to end this video. At the end of this video, or after the video, or whenever you prefer, I want you to get like this guy, okay? This guy. So he's sitting down. Believe it or not, he is sitting down, okay? And he is beautifully relaxed and chilling. And he's holding his beautiful head and thinking. Guy is chilling. Very, very chill guy. And if you get like this guy, if you just drop everything when you have a moment, when you have some time, you sit down, you think about this video, or you don't think about this video, you just think about what's happening in your life, the pattern, your relationship, the dynamic. Even if maybe you are not in a relationship currently, you think about the past relationships, or you think about the dynamics you have with someone, and you ask yourself this question: what is this relationship showing me about myself that I have not been willing to see before? Okay, so question with the big Ed. What is this relationship, this dynamic, this pattern showing me about myself that I have not been willing to see before? And before you answer that, of course, take your time, take as much time as you need. Our mind has the tendency to spiral and make it about the other person. So the first questions that might pop up in your head is, why are they doing this to me? Why are they hurting me? Why are they doing this if they know I don't want that to be done? Why did they do this? Did they do it on purpose? Fill in the blank. We always go, this is our first natural behavior. We go into blaming the other person, why they did thing or they didn't do thing, why they don't understand me, why they do this to me, why they make me suffer. But I want you to really turn inwards like this guy. Chill down a bit, calm down. Relax yourself whenever you feel relaxed. I don't want you to be now stressing about this. Okay, I need to figure out the answer. No, when you are at ease, at peace, and ask yourself this question, because we are looking inwards. We are not trying to blame the other people, circumstances, external situations, because by this time, if you are following this channel, I hope you understand that everything is an outcome that's coming from our inside. Everything that's happening around us, to us, with us, for us, it's actually for us, right? So it's a mirror to how we are dealing with situations inside of us. So what we want to do is really look at where we are not willing to look, essentially, right? And if you're not willing to look, if you're not willing to ask yourself this question or ponder that or answer that, then you're going to come back to that beautiful mirror, to that beautiful person. He's going to be mirroring to you the exact way and the exact answer that you're looking for, but you need to be willing, okay? Previous slide, you need to be willing to admit that, because so many of us are in denial that no, it's about the other person, no, it's not about me, no, I didn't do that, no, I'm not like that, because the truth is hard pill to swallow. The truth is the most important thing, whether you are in a relationship or not. And whether you are not in a relationship, you are still in a relationship with yourself. Okay, you're the chill guy. You're in a relationship with yourself, no matter if you don't have a relationship on the outside. You're still in a relationship. So this whole video, if you watch it and you are not in a relationship, it still applies to you. Surprise, surprise. The relationship is not to make you happy, because you're happy by yourself, with yourself, in yourself. Amazing how we come the full circle. So it's all there, laid out in front of you guys. And just so you know, it takes some practice to be at the level where you will be having this grace, where you will be having the understanding, where you will having even the willingness, the capacities to stretch yourself into some sort of way. And the same for your partner, whether you have them or not. So give yourself grace, give yourself space, get yourself chilled, understand that the truth is the only thing that matters, and understand that it is your insides that are basically deciding how your outsides are going to play out. And you are always in charge of that. And if you don't like what you see on the outside, it's time to get down as this guy. Sit down with yourself, ask yourself some important questions, and figure out where you are not willing to meet yourself, where you are keeping, blind eye. And you know what it is. We all know, but we like to pretend we don't. So, my dear, return to yourself, return to truth, and understand where you are still hiding. And then admit that you are still hiding, and be willing to do things differently, willing to go there, willing to do the exact thing. I enjoyed this video so much. Thank you so much for being on the channel. Every like, support, comment means the world to me, and I will see you in the next one.